Hi there. I am doing my reading from the yoga room in my gym. I'm back here again, and I'm going to do the reading for February 6th from the Golden Present. These are the daily inspirational readings by Swami Satchidananda. And February 6th starts off with the heading, "Let us all remember the real truth." It doesn't matter what form you choose to worship, as long as your interest is in recognizing and realizing the presence of that spirit, you can approach it in any form you like. If you don't care for any of the traditional forms that have been handed to us over the ages, you can create your own form and God will come to you as that. There is no limit to God's expression. God need not be put into only a few categories. God is ready to send itself in any form that will help you realize that spirit. God is essentially nameless, formless, omnipresent. If you say God is omnipresent, then it is nonsense to say God is only this. It is easy to say the words God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, but hard to fully understand. If we stop to think of the real meaning of the words, then all this limiting of God doesn't make any sense. However, our mental capacities are limited. The mind cannot truly understand the unlimited one. It is to give us something to focus on that we can limit something that is unlimited. We need that help to go beyond the limitation and realize the one, or God. That is a reason for all the forms and names we use in worship. Whatever form or name we may choose, let us all remember the real truth of the limitless, formless, omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent one behind them all. Well, this is a great follow-up from yesterday, and I actually like that Swami Satchidananda used the word "it's" in a few instances here, calling also God, the one, and then breaking it down to these different expressions of being limitless, formless, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. So yeah, it's that idea that it's something that is beyond our limited mind, and I simply like that to recognize that as much as I may think I know a lot of things, there's so much I don't know. There's so much that I have yet to experience that will open my mind to make me go, oh, I never thought about that. How often has it happened where you have, you learn something new that in a day, or you realize something about your life in a different way than you had in the past. Something from 5 years ago wouldn't make sense for you to be doing today. And something from 10 years ago, even more so, etc. Keep going back. So the more that we have that curious mind, and it's just part of our nature, things unfold. Our understanding of what is completely changes. So to think we have a full grasp of what God means, even if we've read all the scriptures and we've gone through all the different religions to understand all the ways God is expressed, it's even beyond all that. We are limited, and feels to me a way to keep some humility around this, and the opposite of that would be to use the name of God or the presence of God as a way to manipulate, as a way to instigate a type of power that truly isn't that person's. And I like also when it talked about using the word "the one," and it reminds me also of my Jewish upbringing and how when I write the word God on a piece of paper, I write G-D to really honor the name of God. And in Hebrew, another way it's spoken about is the name, because of the vowels and letters that are used to represent God often aren't even read out loud. There's a sacredness to it that's even greater than we are able to offer it by expressing it through words, through sound. So there's a way of honoring it that I learned that I really appreciate to this day, that holds a sacredness around even the written name. I don't feel like I expressed that well, but anyway. Someone else has a better version of that, please include it. But the idea of that is just that it began this practice for me to relate to a divine spirit that I didn't fully understand as a kid. And to this day, it has just expanded. And again, it's that idea of how I thought about it 40 years ago is different than how I think about it today. And I imagine that's going to change even more. And it's going to change at the end of this year of doing these readings. You know, my relationship to God, to my higher power, even to Swami Satchidananda, I feel like that's all going to evolve. Yeah. In this first part too, as long as your interest is in recognizing and realizing the presence of that spirit, you can approach it in any form you like. So I love how Swami Satchidananda offers this whole concept of truth is one, paths are many. It's not limiting who is welcomed into yoga. Yoga is not a religious practice. For any religion, any faith, creed, any practice, all are welcome to bring in yoga because it's not trying to change anyone's story, any religious story. It's focusing on being able to clear the veils of consciousness to really understand what is true for yourself. It's understood in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, there are the vrittis of the mind, and it's just the mind stuff, it's oftentimes referred to. And there are 5 different kinds of mind stuff, and I'll try to keep this short, but it's just making me think of these. There's right knowledge, there's misconception, there's verbal delusion, there's memory, and there's sleep. So these are the realms of where the mind kind of fluctuates between these spaces. And we may believe each one of these to hold truth for us in some way or another, but we often have to validate them against some source to know if this is really, really true and really valid. Sometimes, you have that feeling like, did I dream about that, or did that really happen? There are times when I feel like something really has happened, and I have to really think it through. Was that just from a dream, sleeping? We may have, our memory can get distorted. We may think we have a memory of what happened, but we often have to, check with ourselves and maybe others. We may hear things that aren't really the truth, but someone else believes it to be true, but we have to listen to our own heart. Is that really true for us? It's just kind of a way of checking our sources, and that can be very confusing sometimes. And why a meditation practice or some practice that has us go inward for some kind of that gut resource, something in you has a sense of it, and you ride that until something else shifts, and then the mind opens. And kind of back at the beginning when I was talking about each experience that happens that opens our minds, we're like, wow, I just learned something different. So to hold on to thinking we know everything or we understand the whole picture can really be to our detriment. And coming from a place where we have more of an open mind, we're allowed to consider that we are limited and there is more. There's a greater amount of power, resource, information, etc. And I feel like we move towards what is true more efficiently and with more peace. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for listening, and have a good week, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Thanks.